Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome back to a new year of my podcast, Ask Me Anything. Through plenty of ups and downs in my life and have learnt a lot along the way. But now that I've got a midlife crisis reinvention under my belt, I know it's never too late to learn something new. That's why on this podcast, I'm going to be talking to Kiwis from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. Our first guest for 2023 is breakfast host Matty McLean. Matty first appeared on our TV screens as a fresh-faced 20-year-old, singing to the nation in his first ever appearance, which we'll get to soon. He spent most of his career at TVNZ, going from his early days on breakfast to a One News reporter, and now he's back where it all began, but as a major host of The Breakfast Show. He's also a returning contestant on this year's Treasure Island Pans and Faves. His first time on the island in 2019 literally ended in tears and triggered some emotional trauma for Matty, so we're going to chat about that and get some advice on backing yourself when things get a bit tough. Welcome, Matty.
Hi, Paula.
How are you?
I'm so good. It's so nice to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, well, this is all easy. And I'll run you through the podcast rules.
Great.
Okay. First is I'm allowed to ask you anything.
Great.
But you don't actually have to answer it.
Yeah, but you know me. I'm an open book and very susceptible to peer pressure, so I probably won't say no to anything.
Okay, well, that's good. I always like that as a bit of a challenge now. And second, total safe space. So as my daughter and I like to say, it's a no judgy zone.
Love it.
Yeah. And it's
it.
quite nice since I've been doing the podcast. I literally have people say to me, oh, we use that now. No judgy zone.
Well, you and I go back quite a long way because I used to make you cups of tea when you were one of the political young guns on The Breakfast Show
goodness.
all those years ago, Paula.
That is a long time ago.
It's going back quite a while.
I'm not young.
You still are.
Not young,
You are.
eh? God. Oh, I did that with Darren Hughes.
You did.
Like, we still stay in touch.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He really is.
Yeah, as are you. Not a good guy, but a good...
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Be anything these days. Hey. Okay, icebreaker questions.
Yes.
Just to ease it all in.
Hit me.
Have you got a favourite book? When you were a child, now, anything that...
I mean, I could give you a few different. So childhood favourite book, I loved Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe. Anything kind of fantasy, loved escapism as a kid, which kind of followed me through into my teens. I was a big Harry Potter nerd. Big.
Have you ever dressed in character?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to Harry Potter World in the UK. I used to own a Harry Potter wand.
Wow.
The whole shebang. I'm not that sad anymore. Not that there's anything sad about it, but I've grown up a little bit.
Okay, nice.
But I loved it. Do you know what series I've really taken to in the last couple of years? My husband and I have been reading them. I know, I'm still getting used to that. Is the Seven Sisters series by Lucinda Riley.
Yes.
Brilliant series of books. Brilliant. And the final one comes out this year, so I'm very excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got them and haven't read them.
Oh, you've got to.
So I've got them on my Kindle.
You've got to.
And it's kind of, but I'm an obsessive reader. So I can't read a couple of chapters and be happy.
Yeah.
I have to binge read.
I just got my hands on Eleanor Catton's new book today as well, which apparently is phenomenal. So I'm very excited.
Okay, karaoke song?
Oh, anything by Mariah Carey. Fantasy, Mariah Carey. There you go. I'll pick one for you.
Do you think you're good or
No,
are
I'm
you
terrible,
good?
but
Okay.
I love it and I have very little shame.
So you're my favourite kind of karaoke. You know, I just love people that give it everything
I'll give it
they've
everything.
got.
I'm not good, but
And
I'll
it
give
doesn't really
everything.
matter because it's karaoke, right?
Exactly.
It's
no one wants to see the guy that can belt out a hit and hit every note.
Yeah.
You want the person that gets up there and is terrible but is going full noise. That's what you want to see at karaoke.
One of my friends does the best worst karaoke to Toto, Africa.
Love it.
And I now do interpretive dance for her. 'Cause
Incredible.
It's just so cool. Okay. We're going to get to the advice bit a bit later, as well as your return to Treasure Island. But now is when we get to learn a little bit more about you and talk about you. Huge congratulations on getting married.
Thank you. It was honestly, I mean, every cliche in the book, truly the best day of our lives. It went by way too fast. We never got to talk to anyone, but we had so much fun.
So you did New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, yeah.
Great.
I'd been to a couple before. A couple of friends had New Year's Eve weddings.
Yeah.
And they were both two of my favourite weddings. I think because there's just this extra air of excitement. You know, weddings are already fun, but add in a really amazing celebration like New Year's Eve, which, to be honest, the older you get, the worse they get. Like, when did you last have a good New Year's Eve celebration?
Yeah.
But a wedding is just the perfect opportunity to actually let your hair down and have fun on New Year's Eve, and not for the guests, not have to organise anything. You've got a ready-made party that someone else is paying for.
And noise control can't come out before 2 a.m.
Exactly.
So it's the only night on the year.
Great. So we had so much fun. It was a blast.
Okay, did I hear that it's the first gay wedding you've been to?
Yes, I've never been to a same-sex wedding. Isn't that ridiculous? I know. I don't know if I'm just hanging around with the wrong gays, or I don't know what's going on. But
commitment phobes.
I'd never been to a gay wedding.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're good times, let me tell you.
Yeah. I've officiated at one, and I've been to a few. And one I went to, and it really struck home for me. And I'd love your, let's talk a bit about where we're at now as far as equality and everything else. And it was a couple that I knew that were similar ages, right, in their 50s. And they'd been together for like 30 years, and they got married, and I went along. And it was funny when gay marriage came up in Parliament, it was a no-brainer for me, right? I was just going to vote for it. You know, like it was just, I didn't even need to think about it. And I was at the wedding, at the reception, their friends were coming up literally with tears in their eyes and just going, you know, you've got no idea the difference that made. It's
funny because I think we've moved so far as a society that sometimes, it was 10 years ago that the Marriage Amendment Bill went through Parliament. And so I think so much time, you know, it is a relatively short amount of time, 10 years, but also so much has happened in 10 years that sometimes you forget that actually it really wasn't that long ago that I wouldn't have been able to stand up there and do that with the man that I loved. So it is crazy to me to think that it was only 10 years ago, a decade ago, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did that night, which is amazing. And I made a submission to Parliament, to the Select Committee when marriage equality was going through, and my submission got pulled out and I got asked to actually come and speak at Select Committee, it was a pretty humbling experience, really. You would have sat through so many Select Committees where you heard really personal stories from people. So to be able to get up there and share it was kind of terrifying, but also really incredible and powerful.
You were influencing the law of the land,
which is crazy. Yeah. And I'm not, you know,
in a good way. You know what I mean?
I'm not taking responsibility. No. There were so many, but to have a small part in that, and then to be able to actually reap the benefits of what we collectively achieved 10 years ago was amazing, and was a moment that was not lost on anyone that was there, I don't think.
No. And you're so right. It feels so far away and yet it feels so close and yet just so significant. And for me, it hadn't really registered until they said, because as I say, I don't mean to sound rude, but I hadn't given it that much thought.
No.
I knew where I stood. I knew what I was going to do. And so it's like, you know, get on with it sort of thing. And then to see that sort of effect and that sort of thing. Do you think that the ex-All Black coming out like that makes a difference?
A huge difference. You know, people say, why do we care, or why do we need to know? But as far as we have come as a society, the fact that there has not yet been a man that has been brave enough to stand up and say, I'm a professional rugby player in that high environment and I'm gay, means that really we still do have a long way to go. And so every time someone does that, it opens the door for someone else. I just think about all those kids sitting at school. You know, when I was growing up, it felt a really isolating environment to be struggling with your sexuality, and things have come so far. But still, I think about all those kids sitting there going, I don't know that I fit in, or I don't know, I feel different, but I'm still this guy that wants to play rugby and I want to play sports with my mates and blah, 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 but that doesn't seem to fit with my idea of what it is to be gay. And that would be really hard to kind of grapple with. But if you see someone like Campbell Johnson, who was a former All Black, say, I'm gay, it just gives kids permission to feel confident enough to be who they are and to do that earlier than maybe they would as well, to not have to go through the years of pain and struggle and questioning and all of that. Yeah,
and we need role models in all parts of life, and people that look like us.
Absolutely. What you see, you can be,
example.
you know?
Yeah, it's another example. Okay, so tell me about Ryan. Everyone's going to want to talk about him and hear something about him. And you've still got that glow.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yeah. He's amazing. We matched on Tinder a long time ago and we chatted for a long time, but he was a farm boy. He used to ride horses professionally and lived out of the city. And I was very much a city kid living in an apartment, and we never just quite coordinated meeting up. So even though we chatted and were hoping to go on a date, it just didn't quite work out. I moved to London for a little bit. I was there for about 8 months. And so it just kind of petered out. And then I returned back to take this job on Breakfast as the weather presenter. And I got a random message from Ryan one day saying, "Congratulations, I hear you moved home." And I said, "We should get that drink we always meant to get."
Yeah.
And we did. And that was that. That was 6 years ago.
6 years ago. And he's in real estate, isn't he?
Yes, he's in real estate. Yep.
And you've described him kind of as the calm
Yes.
in your storm. Is that right?
Pretty much. I'm the chaotic energy. We are chalk and cheese. The yin to my yang.
It works though, eh?
It does. It really does.
God, imagine too much of you or too much of me.
Totally.
That's what I think.
Oh, yeah.
I just think, thank God mine is a calm and fewer words and gets on, and and I just think, because God, two of me would be nuts.
I know, but then I also think that people's natural inclination is to go, oh, the poor spouse of the big, loud, wild person. But actually, I think we have something to offer them as well, Paula.
Yes.
I'd like to think so.
Totally.
Yeah. I make him a lot more spontaneous, and I get him to do things that I don't think he normally would do without me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes for really simple things like social engagements. Ryan is notorious for saying he will go and socialize and then on the day deciding he doesn't want to go. And now I've been able to figure out when he genuinely doesn't want to go and we should just let it go and stay at home, and when he just needs a gentle push out the door, and I know that he'll have a great time.
Yeah, he's the last one on the dance floor.
Exactly.
And
And I'm going, all right, let's wrap it up and go home, thank you. So we complement each other really well.
Yeah,
it
Alan's
works.
the same. I say to him, you'd be a gunner. You're a gunner before you had me. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
And you make him do it.
Yeah, and then he's the last one on the bloody dance floor, and everyone loves him, right?
Yeah.
He's just Mr. Everybody's, he's just got that kind of personality.
Everyone needs a little bit of chaos in their lives, Paula.
Exactly.
And we're the chaos.
Yeah. Fun. Okay, so you are probably one of the busiest people on the planet at the moment. You're hosting Breakfast TV, obviously, which means you're a very early alarm clock. You're on Treasure Island. We're going to talk about that a bit later. You've got a couple of podcasts, and you've been filling and hosting Drive on ZM. How is that going?
I love it. It is wild, and I'm so sorry because I'm sure people are sick of me. Like if you turn on your TV in the morning, then you turn on radio in the afternoon on the drive home, and then you're watching TV at 7:30 at night, you must be like, oh my God, this guy again?
Is Ryan, is he like, great getting married, love, now I never see you?
Yes, exactly. But no, it's fun. I mean, I wouldn't want to live this way forever, but for a short amount of time, being busy can be fantastic. Yeah, you've just got to kind of make it work.
And that's part of life, right, is grabbing opportunities.
Totally.
And they've come your way, and you grab it for now and then go, you know what, I've just got to step back a bit and look after me for a while or my relationship
Yeah, exactly. I've always been under no illusion that I work at quite a fickle industry, and there might come a time where either I am completely done with this kind of lifestyle or they're done with me and I get booted out. So I feel like I might as well just make the most of it while I've got it in front of me.
I used to call it roasted or feather duster. You know?
Yes.
You don't know when you're the big roaster and everyone's, and then it can all be over.
Exactly.
So you've got to grab it. And so, I mean, TVNZ's breakfast show has been such a big part of your journalist life and what you do and everything else. And as I sort of indicated, your very first cross on Breakfast TV with Paul Henry, and you sung.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been susceptible to peer pressure, as I mentioned earlier.
Wow. And he would have been the best at giving it, wouldn't he?
So I think he So I was filling in for someone. I was only even meant to be there for a few days.
Yeah.
And I got onto the live cross and I was talking about the Wellington Phoenix playing against LA Galaxy. David Beckham's team were coming to Wellington at that time. And I said the Wellington Phoenix team supporters had come up with all these new chants for the LA Galaxy. And Paul Henry said, do you want to sing us some of them? And, you know, I was a 21-year-old fresh-faced reporter who just wanted to do his best. So if Paul Henry tells you to do something, you do it. And so I did. And then I think Paul went, oh, this guy I can get to do literally anything I want him to.
Yeah.
And thus began about 2.5 years of me just being Paul Henry's whipping boy.
And do you think your ability to have that sense of fun and take the mickey out of yourself a bit has been part of your success?
Yeah, I do. And I feel really fortunate that I came in at a time, you know, because TVNZ's the state broadcaster, and for a very long time, I think the idea was that you had to be this kind of very serious person and don't show personality as a journalist. And as time has gone on, I think people have realised that actually to see a little bit of vulnerability from your journalists or your presenters and to see a little bit of humanity and a little bit of personality is not necessarily a bad thing. Makes you connect with the person that's telling you the news or giving you the information. So I feel really lucky that TVNZ gave me the opportunity to do that because I'm a wear my heart on my sleeve kind of a guy. I can't be anything other than myself. And I feel really lucky that people have kind of taken that in.
Yeah, and they have. You're in their hearts, and we know why it's, you know, the most popular breakfast show. So there you go. So with Paul Henry, what is the craziest thing you think you did on air on TV?
I don't even need to think about it.
Oh, really?
No, I know exactly what it is. And it happened about 13 years ago now. And people still stop me on the street and talk to me about the time that this happened. I once went to do a live cross outside Premier House. A bunch of people were being knighted there later on that day. So I went along to do a live cross into breakfast to say, later today, here at Premier House, all these people will be knighted. Peter Jackson was one of them. And while I was doing the live cross, Paul Henry became fixated on the fact that actually the fence outside Premier House is quite small. And he was amazed that for such a big grand house that literally houses the Prime Minister, that someone would easily be able to jump over the fence.
Okay.
And so he suggested that maybe I should test his theory out and jump over the fence to Premier House. Yeah, they don't love it when you do that, Paula.
No, they don't. They do not. Were you tackled?
I wasn't tackled because I jumped over and jumped back quite quickly, but then they cut away from me in the broadcast and went to another reporter for them to tell their story that morning. And just as they cut away, I saw this policeman sprinting down the hill from the house. And obviously the producers and directors in the control room saw this happening as well, because then they cut back to me and caught on camera this policeman giving me a very, very stern word. I honestly thought I was going to be arrested on live television. Terrible.
Which
but
would have been something.
I had to turn back up to Premier House later on that day to actually cover the story. And I remember Peter Jackson, I went to ask him a question about how does it feel, you know, momentous occasion. And he looked at me and he goes, I saw you this morning. You jumped the bloody fence here. I thought, oh, well, at least Peter Jackson watches breakfast.
Yeah, he knew what was going on. He knew. In that big TV journalist kind of career, has there been anyone that stands out as a mentor to you?
I've been really lucky to have some amazing mentors, some really incredible journalists. I mean, Paul Henry, honestly, back in the day, I was really lucky. Paul really gave me the time of day. And as a 21-year-old, he really didn't have to, you know?
Yeah, but I know Paul well, and he would be extremely generous with his time.
Incredibly generous and encouraging and insightful. And I feel like I owe so much of my career to him. He really turned me into at least in those formidable years, turned me into the broadcaster that I have become, and taught me the beauty of being yourself on television and the power in that. So he was amazing. In later years, obviously worked with incredible people like Jack Tame and John Campbell, Hilary Barry. I mean, the best of the best, and they are the best for a reason. They're the best because they know what they're doing. They understand how to connect with an audience, and I've learnt so much from them. Each of them I've kind of pulled little bits and pieces, but ultimately you kind of do just have to be yourself in broadcasting.
And do it, right?
Yeah, and that was the biggest lesson I learned because so John obviously was the host of Breakfast until the start of last year, and then when he left, I kind of stepped into his shoes a little bit and took on more of the main presenting, stopped doing the weather. And for a little bit, I had this kind of identity crisis, and I really had a lack of confidence because I think I was comparing myself to him because technically I'd stepped into his role, but actually I'm never going to be John Campbell. I shouldn't try to be John Campbell. Absolutely, learn lessons from those people, but be yourself is just the biggest. It sounds so silly, but it is true. It's a really simple mantra. I can't be anyone else but myself, so that's all I can do.
Yeah. All right, I want to explore that a little bit more and about how you feel and what you do. And I'm dying to talk about your big return to Treasure Island. So we're going to get some advice around advocating for yourself and backing yourself in life. And that's up next. Right, Matty, this is our advice segment. Now, I read a headline not long ago that you have spent a lot of your younger years feeling undervalued. So today we're going to chat about how you turn that around, because there'll be a lot of people that will resonate with.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. So growing up in a small town, struggling with my kind of sense of self and sense of identity and figuring myself out in terms of my sexuality. I won't lie, high school was not the easiest experience for me. It wasn't terrible. I had some fantastic times, some amazing friends. I did pretty well at school, all things considered. But there were some really, really challenging moments in amongst that. And I think those challenging moments had a real impact on the way that I believed in myself, the things I thought about myself, especially in terms of strength and what that looked like. You know, we talked earlier about comparing yourself to other people, and I think I was constantly comparing myself to other men and not thinking that I was as strong as them, and having that kind of validated as in my formidable years as a teenager by people telling me that the way I was and the way I acted and the way I presented myself was bad or wrong. And so I think that really had an impact on me, and more than I ever realised it did.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask a little bit about before we get to you giving some advice on how you did turn that around. You often don't know it when you're in the moment, do you?
No,
you know?
no.
You've just sort of got these bad feelings, or it's just all a bit confusing. And you say you're going through enough as it is as a teenager and early 20s. And so you're even identifying what those feelings are and then being able to unpack where they come from is big enough.
I think it wasn't until I went on Treasure Island the first time in 2019, and I had these moments out there where I had team members who were very vocal about only wanting to protect kind of the strong physical players in the game. And it seems so silly because it's just a reality show and it shouldn't be taken this seriously. But for me, it really brought back all of these emotions from my childhood, which I truly thought that I had moved past and didn't care about anymore. And all of a sudden I was really confronted head on with the fact that actually I don't think I had dealt with it.
Wow.
And I don't think I had processed it. And I still was obviously holding on to a lot of stuff from my earlier years that really came to the fore on a bloody deserted island in Fiji.
Because we love Treasure Island, right? Big fans, big fans. And then here you are then on a much-loved TV program, and those feelings are coming back for you of kind of you're the weakling, you're the weak link, kind of, you know, that's the connotations you're hearing, isn't it?
And for a lot of, you know, I can look back now and think that so much of that is in my own head. Like I turned what they were saying into those things. They never meant to make me feel that way. They weren't aware of how I had maybe spent my adolescence, and that might be triggering for me because I didn't even realize that it would be. Yeah. So I don't blame them, but it was it was very confronting to have those things come back and to realize that actually they meant something to me. Yeah. So I really had to deal with it head on.
Yeah.
And I'm a wear my heart on my sleeve kind of a
So
guy.
how did you deal with it
Well,
then?
I cried on national television for one.
Well, I mean, that's quite good. It's a release, eh? You let it out.
It was, and it was really cathartic. And then dealing with the aftermath of that and coming back and thinking about it and processing it and then obviously watching the show play out, I think was quite a healing experience for
Was
me.
it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So how do you advocate for yourself?
A few things. First of all, I think the biggest thing is, and I'm still working on it, I'm not pretending like I've come up with the absolute solution or am perfect in this regard, but I'm trying constantly to tell myself not to sweat the comments or the perceptions that other people have of you.
Oh, yeah.
It's easier said than done, and
Yeah, it is.
God, it can be tough. And, you know, I had it in that moment on Treasure Island from the people I was on a team with, and I get it on a semi-regular basis from members of the public who watch me on television and have an idea of who I am and make their feelings known. And, you know, it's funny. You always say to people, I think outwardly, I say, God, you just got to have a thick skin. You can't worry about what people think. I'm here to tell you, I worry about what people think constantly. But the older I get, and with experiences like that I had on Treasure Island, I'm constantly just trying to remind myself that actually I have an incredible support network and people that know me and know the effort that I put into my work and know who I am as a person and know what I do in my outside life, who love me and appreciate me and accept me for who I am. So why do I care what Susan from Gore is saying on a Facebook page about me? Because I don't know her and she doesn't know me.
It's exactly what I used to think when I'd have someone that would be particularly personal or nasty, you know, and I would just think, no, you don't know me at all. You've every right not to like something I've done or my politics.
Yes.
Hey, this is New Zealand democracy, that's fine. But actually, you don't know me personally, so your judgment of me says more about you than me.
But it's a constant battle and I'm still figuring it out. But every day I feel like I'm getting closer to that realization and that acceptance, which is amazing because it really is helping me move forward to not worry about what other people think of me.
Have you ever put yourself forward then for those big jobs at TVNZ in particular? I mean, as you say, you went from the junior reporter and then then when you went into weather and then that hosting job. I mean, did you wait to be shoulder tapped or did you put your hand up and go, I'm good enough and I want it?
I never used to. I spent basically the first 10 years of my career in media just kind of waiting for the next opportunities. And I was really lucky. They did come to me eventually. And then it wasn't actually until I moved overseas. I went to London and all of a sudden no one knew who I was and no one cared that I'd done these things at TVNZ. No one knew what breakfast was in London. They didn't care. So all of a sudden I was basically starting from scratch and really had to prove myself and had to fight. I had to find the fight to push myself forward, to believe in myself and to make other people believe in me as well. So that was really powerful.
I like that, people. Find the fight.
Yeah. And so I came back with this real resolve to push myself forward. And so I've tried to take so many different opportunities. That is why I'm filling in on ZM at the moment and why I'm doing a podcast and why I'm on Treasure Island. Literally, I remember in 2019, I went to the new season launch at TVNZ where they announced all the big shows that are coming up for that year.
Yeah.
And they said, we're bringing back Treasure Island. And the next day, I went to the commissioner at TV2 and I said, I want to be on that show.
Wow.
28-year-old me never would have done that.
Yeah.
But in my 30s and having had gone through this experience where I really had to fight for myself because no one else was going to, I all of a sudden realized that there's real power in being able to do that. And also you have to, because no one's going to fight for you more than you're going to fight for yourself. So you kind of have to do that. As scary as it can be, but I think people really respect it. They respect the fact that you know what you want and you're going to go out there and get it. Even if it doesn't work out, I always think the worst thing that they can say is no, right?
Exactly.
So
and you've already got to know if you don't ask.
Exactly. So you might as well put yourself out there. And even if it's a no this time, at least you put yourself out there and maybe the next time they think, oh, I remember Matty was really keen on doing some more stuff for us. Let's give him a call.
You're funny because We're almost exactly the same, but completely opposite. How's that? In that, I have always been underrated, is the way I've put it. My big personality, I was the chubby, funny, loud. So then, is she really that smart? Is she intelligent? Oh, she's all over the place. And so will we take her seriously? And then I suppose being a 17-year-old solo mum, I learned to fight from day one. Like everything I needed and everything I wanted. I remember my daughter was a baby, and I remember I went for a job and it was a reception job. I felt like I interviewed well and I put myself forward, and then I didn't hear anything back from them. And so I finally picked up the telephone and said, I'm presuming I don't have the role. And he was just so affronted that I'd rung him. And he went, well, no. And I said, well, I'd like to know why. And he said, because you have a child.
Wow.
And we think you'll take sick days more than others.
My God.
And because you're a single mum. Yeah, that's exactly it. So I probably told him to bugger off and hung up on him because, I was all of 18 years old myself and stroppy. Yeah, so I learned to fight from day one. And probably I had to learn to calm down a little. I was probably, you know what I mean? Like I needed
so we've met in the middle somewhere,
We met
Paula.
somewhere in the middle. And mine was underrated, yeah. And then, so I just felt I had to scrap for every little bit. And I probably needed to just calm the farm a little. And everything doesn't have to be a scrap. So back at Treasure Island, and as I say, you put yourself up for it, you asked for it. You're quite different this time than you were last time, yeah?
Yeah, yep, I am, for a few reasons. One, so this has been a dream of mine for forever. I was maybe 12 when the first season of Treasure Island started on TV, maybe 13, and I just instantly fell in love with it. Yeah. I loved the format. I loved the gameplay. I loved the strategizing. I loved the competition. I'm very, very competitive. Don't play a board game with me. I'm telling you now, don't do it. And so everything about it appealed to me. I loved the socialization, putting different people from different walks of life in one confined space and seeing what happens. I just found it fascinating. So it's always been a dream of mine to be a part of a show like that. And so it was just kind of a no-brainer to go and...
To do it the first
time. But I took myself so seriously because it meant so much to me that I forgot to enjoy the experience.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was so serious about it. So this time around I went in there going, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy myself this time around.
And you're a bit more strategic this time.
Yeah. I get to play this time around the way that I never was able to the last time because my team members weren't interested in strategizing and forming alliances and playing this social game. So this time around, I'm in there with people who are interested in that. So I really get to play the game that I've been dreaming about since I was a 13-year-old, which is so exciting.
And you're captain, obviously, so you've had all the power.
Yes.
Do you love the power?
It's a really interesting thing. I am an eternal people pleaser in my normal life. I hate upsetting people or letting them down. I'm a bury my head in the sand kind of guy when it comes to conflict. Really don't avoid conflict at all points. I'm not a natural born leader. So to get into a role like this it really changed me, I think. It feels so silly talking about a reality show having a profound impact on your life, but I think it actually has. I had to really confront some of those things that I'm not very good at head on. And that came in a few ways, like so when you're the captain, if your team wins the challenge that day, you have to put 2 people up for elimination. And one of them has to come from your own team.
Yeah. And then if they win even, you've got to look at them an hour later, don't you?
Exactly. And like I said, I usually would bury my head in the sand and avoid conflict, but I had to be direct with people. I really had to go up to Art Green and say to him, I'm putting you up for elimination tonight, just letting you know, which felt so against everything I am in my normal life. But it was kind of really powerful.
They've called you, though, the baby-faced assassin.
Yeah, I am that.
Do you kind of like it? Yeah, I was going to say, ha, ha, ha. Is there a little party that, it's kind of like, oh, yes, I am.
Well, look, I just thought this is probably the last time I'll ever get the call up to do it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity the first time that I've been lucky enough to get a second shot at. So let's just make the most of it, right? And you're out there to win money for your charity. I'm trying to win $50,000 for my amazing charity. Yeah. So you've got to give it everything you've got. I just said, before I went in there, I found it the other day. I recorded a little video of myself the day that we were about to enter the game. For posterity, I just wanted to remember the moment. And I gave myself a little bit of a pep talk and I said, have fun. enjoy yourself, have a great adventure. But I said, but leave nothing on the floor. Go out there and give it everything you've got. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, good on you. And so do you feel, because in that first time round you had that famous line about how you didn't have to prove yourself to Barbara Kendall.
Yes.
Because that had upset you. And so going back, are you trying to prove yourself to Barbara Kendall?
No, I'm not trying to prove myself to anyone.
Nice.
And that truly is the thing that I took away from that, is that as long as you're doing it for you, it doesn't really matter what anyone else is doing. And I don't need to worry about what other people think of me. It's all in my own head. So you've got to battle that.
So what would you tell your younger self then?
I would tell myself that there's absolutely nothing wrong with who you are as a person. You don't need to keep striving to be something you're not. Just embrace who you are and have that be a really powerful thing.
Because who you are is enough.
Totally. It sounds so cheesy, but it's true.
It's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, and I've been
enough.
really lucky enough to have made an incredible group of friends. I've found a husband who loves me.
Yeah.
I've been really lucky enough to have longevity in an industry that doesn't often provide longevity for people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, clearly I'm doing something all right.
Yeah.
And so that should be enough.
True to self is really, I remember when I became the Deputy Prime Minister, and of course Bill English was the Prime Minister, and all these people all of a sudden are all full of advice, and there were all these advisors around you and everything else, and their concern was that I would outshine Bill with my personality. Certainly not with intellect or anything, but can sort of own a room a bit, and that because he's a more considered man that it would. And so I really tried to pull back, and one day Bill looked at me and he goes, God, where's my Paula?
Yeah, totally.
And I went, I'm all right. I'm just, just playing second role and just trying to, and he goes, no one puts Paula in a corner.
No,
totally. You are who you are, and that's who we all like.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm trying to be somebody I'm not, and that's not who I am.
And it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for the people that you're trying to do a good job for. It's not going to work for anyone.
Yeah.
So you've got to hold on to that. You've got to stay true to who you are.
Yeah.
Got to.
It's good advice for everyone out there. Hey, so you filmed Treasure Island ages ago. So is it, how on earth do you keep a secret?
I'm a terrible secret keeper, so don't ask me.
So do you just have to block it off in your mind?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because how do you not talk about it and all that time?
It's really hard. And because I'm such a fan, all I want to do is talk about it because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah.
But it's great now that it's playing out because I can talk about what is happening on television.
Yeah.
Although I'm in this, there's actually like a Treasure Island group chat online that I've joined. I was going to just sit there quietly, but I couldn't possibly do that.
Yeah.
So I am quite active in the group chat, and they live post during the episodes. And so
I could join that because I'm into it that much.
So I comment, and they'll say, "Oh, what about this?" And I'll be able to answer questions in the moment as as the episode's going out. But I did accidentally give a spoiler in the group chat, so I need to be really careful about what I say.
So I could be sitting here with the 2023 winner of Treasure Island.
You may be. You may be.
You kept a secret. Okay, it's time to turn the tables. This podcast is called Ask Me Anything. So now you get to ask me something if you would like to.
I would love to. I've got two questions. The first is, it actually harks back to something we were talking about earlier about, often if you're in the public eye, you talk about having a thick skin and having to kind of block out all of that hate. But is there ever a moment where it really got to you? That something someone said or something someone posted about you or wrote to you in an email that really got to you, that you had to overcome and let go?
I'm counting the elections in my head because that's how my life is run.
Yeah.
So it was 15, 16, 5, 8, 9. Yeah, it was like 2011, I think. And it was that election. And it was the nastiest, most vicious thing. Labor wanted that seat back because I'd taken the West Auckland seat. And I'm not blaming Labor, but it just got people driving past in their cars and people on the street. I used to go to bed at night and I used to lie there and say in my own head, you are not a fat, thick, you are not you are not, you are not, you are not. And it was all about my weight, and it was all personal, and it was just really, really nasty. And so I used to just literally lie in bed at night and try and mantra to myself to unwind it so that it didn't play in my head all night. And then I'd get up the next morning at 5:30 and go again.
Did that mantra work, or did you just have to push through and get through the election cycle?
Well, I wouldn't have got up if I didn't do that, but I'm not sure I completely believed it. And I mean, to the point where one of my volunteers got punched in the head, to the point where I had physical violence against me twice. It was, it was really, really, and it just kept getting heated up and angrier. But, I had to mantra to myself, and I am someone that believes in positive affirmations. I believe that your unconscious self, you can lie to it.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have to believe it.
Yeah. But eventually, if you say it enough, you might believe it. Yeah.
It gets in.
Yeah.
Right? It sort of gets in. So your consciousness doesn't know the difference between the truth or a lie.
Yeah.
So even if you don't feel it, lie to it. Tell it, I'm fabulous.
Great.
I'm fabulous. I am fabulous. And then your conscious believes that.
I'm going to keep doing that. My second question, Paula, would you ever go on Treasure Island?
No, I can't imagine.
You would be so good at it.
I'm just like uncomfortable beds, weeks away from everybody, no wine. The physical aspects of it look really big. But I've got to admit, Matty, everyone I speak to that's been on it has absolutely loved it.
It's just the adventure of a life. For me, but I get it. It's not for everyone. But it has been the adventure of a lifetime.
Okay, we've finished the segment, although I feel like we've kind of done it, which is, zip it, sweetie, where we can both get to have a little vent or a rant about something or someone that's killed our buzz. But I think we've done it well. Well, no, you're perfectly entitled to come up with something, but it is that small voice in your head that sometimes puts yourself down. That actually, it needs to be told to zip it, sweetie.
Zip it, sweetie. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. All right, well, we're in agreement. Matty, it's been so good to chat today. Thank you for joining me. People can, think they might get the odd little spoiler there if they listen in and, So where can we get more of you? So we've got, obviously, breakfast. They can tune in the morning.
Correct. I'm currently filling in on the ZM Drive show in the afternoons as well. I'm also hosting the Inside Treasure Island podcast on iHeartRadio. Plus, I've got another podcast called Out the Gate, which is me and a couple of gay mates who just sit around and talk smack.
Love it.
Once a week, which is awesome. So, I've got some really exciting things happening, which I love. I love.
Well, go and tune in, everyone, because it sounds great to me. And that's a wrap for our first episode of Ask Me Anything for 2023. You can get in touch with me by emailing askpaula@nzherald.co.nz. Please feel free to send me through your questions for the podcast or any thoughts you have. Find me on Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. Make sure you follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio. Tune into Matty as well, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also read my weekly column in the Herald on Sunday. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.